Hey everybody, I've got something super cool to share with you today, and this is around a concept called activation. And you might be thinking, the hell's activation? What's she going on about now? But activation is something amazing that I've been learning about that has had a considerably positive impact on my life. And to be honest, I never really knew it existed. Well, I did to a certain degree, but I never really had a framework or an understanding of what activation was. So activation is about the trigger of emotion that comes from engaging in a certain activity or a certain experience. And the trigger of that emotion is always positive. Okay, so it's an activity or an experience that triggers joy or triggers happiness or triggers fulfillment or triggers gratitude or triggers... So it's the doing of something that results in a strong, positive emotional reaction. And the reason why activation is so important, it's important for a lot of reasons, right? Particularly in business life. You know, we often find ourselves in our business journey becoming tired, fatigued, overwhelmed, angry, resentful, burnt out, like all of those really uncomfortable, challenging, unpleasant emotional states. It's part of, trekking a challenging path that is business owner life. It's not easy. We are chief problem solvers 24/7. People rely on us for a lot of things. Not only that, we don't just have business life, we have family life, we have our relationships, we have all of these other responsibilities as well that can result in emotions being triggered that are very uncomfortable and unpleasant, And I'm not saying that that's bad, because emotions, uncomfortable emotions, are just as required as pleasant emotions. They both serve functions in life, and you need both to be able to get fulfillment in life. You need uncomfortable and comfortable emotions, right? So you need both. But for you to be able to really make progress in your business life, or even in life in general, you do have to spend some of your time in activation, in activated modes. And that is intentionally engaging in activities that trigger pleasant emotional states. Because as you could imagine, if you spend, most of your time in a really uncomfortable emotional state, that's not very good, is it? And then the consequences of that, if we're not able to regulate and shift gear to a different state, the downside of that is then vulnerability to burnout, depression. We lose all of our motivation. We don't want to do things that possibly bring us joy, or we disengage from our relationships, our leadership's just not functioning well because we're spending too long in those really unpleasant, negative emotional states. So the art of activation, or the process of activation, is intentionally doing things that are going to trigger positive emotional states. Now that looks very different for everybody, right? My source of activation is grounded walking on the beach with some podcasts, or even just some music, but being barefoot, walking on the beach, on the sand, close to the ocean, that triggers heightened positive emotional state in my body that I can feel, that I experience positive thoughts about. The whole system talks to one another and makes me feel completely alive when I'm doing that, right? That's an activated state. An activated state is very different to feeling good. Yeah, good, I like doing that. No, it's very different. Activation is on the much higher spectrum of emotional intensity. Joy, gratitude, high positive emotional state. So sometimes the process of activation can be a little bit tricky, because you go, God, well, what do I do that brings me joy? Because that's not just going down the milk bar and grabbing a sanger. Yeah, it makes me happy. Does it make me joyful? Probably not. You know, so it's like, well, you start self-auditing and going, well, what are the joy bangers? The joy bangers. It's a new word for me. I'm going to start using that. What is your joy banger? And a joy banger for me is getting down barefoot, getting on that beach, getting close to the ocean, water, soothing, right? And when you intentionally do that, as a result, you know, things start to change. You know, for whatever reason, that decision comes to you. That problem that was really difficult to solve before, all of a sudden a solution pops into your head. That challenge that you were having with that team member, you know, you get back into the clinic and that team member comes forward and says, oh, hey, I think we need to have a talk and I really want to say sorry for XYZ. And you're like, what the fuck? Why is all this happening now? All I did was went and got joyful. But there is a link. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that activating a joy state has then resulted in opening up opportunities situationally, environmentally, internally that you didn't have access to before. Because activation is a gateway to those things. It is a form of attraction, energetic attraction. It calls things in. It is a form of stimulation. So it allows you to access creativity and parts of yourself that you were never able to access before. Right? So joy bangers, finding your joy banger to get into an activated state is actually critical to you being able to move forward. So then whenever you feel stuck or bored or challenged or overwhelmed, the answer is go do your joy banger. Go activate yourself. Go live. Get away. Get out into that. And sometimes what we tend to do is the opposite to that. We keep working. We keep looking through the laptop. We keep having reactive conversations. You know, we keep stressing. You know, we make some phone calls and see if someone else has an answer. They're not the activities that you need to bring you the wisdom to get you out of the situation, to move you when you're stuck. The solution is activation. You need to activate yourself to be able to access these parts of yourself.